Painting with Menoth John is presented in Super Legitivision. Super Legitivision, the future of podcasting. It's .com.
Hello, I'm
Menoth John.
and I'd like to welcome you. First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your homes. If this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your
miniatures
and paint along with us each week. Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. You start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything. All you have to do is practice.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday night, and that means that there are no limits. We go from 0 to 650,000 in the blink of an eye. I, of course, am Menoth John, and you may know me from such things as my levels are too low, and that shit doesn't work. And turning up the knob because we've started doing things. Yes, that and many, many more. When you tune into the Painting with Menoth John Wednesday night extravaganza, and of course with me is the best in the business, the mighty right hand of the podcast, the wind beneath my wings. Of course, I'm talking about Mr. John Spencer.
Heyo.
You know, there have been people who have been podcasting a lot shorter time than we have that have a lot more viewers and a lot less problems. And you know what? I don't give a fuck about any of it.
They probably spend a lot more time on it than we do.
Oh,
This
my
is
God.
Just for us to connect and have fun. It is one of the best times of the week.
We spend at least 10 minutes getting this show going. We spend even less time on marketing. We spend we spend less time figuring out. Well, we probably spend more time figuring out what the hell we're going to drink on the show than we do on actually getting ready for the show. Which, I mean,
I'll be honest, I spent more time making my drink than I did planning what I was going to say tonight.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, you know, it's a lot like running. You know, you got to spend a lot of time on your base. You know, you got to figure out that you got to get that drink right, which then catapults you to higher levels of performance later on in the show. Didn't think I was going to end up sticking the landing on that analogy, did you? Yeah, well, there you go.
You definitely stuck the landing on that one, I'll be honest.
Let's check with the Russian judge. 3.4. Oh, shit! 3.4 from the Russian judge. Nobody saw that coming. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you tonight is Wednesday, and it is July the 15th. That is exactly one day after the 14th. Not that matters. I think it's tax day, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is the tax date. I know someone at work mentioned they had to come in late on Monday because taxes. They had to get them out and post stamped because they were super worried. And I'm like, it's all good, dude. Do your thing.
There you go. You know, pay your taxes. Somebody's got to build a road. Might as well be you. So there you go.
Well, quote the Comstar motto from Battletech: "Pay your bills, fucko."
There you go. Absolutely.
May or may not actually be their motto, but
well, it is now.
Tech says it's
truth doesn't matter anymore. Anyway, so there you go, folks. Hey, it is. You spend it all on the fans. Yep, it's tax day. I paid my taxes back in February or something. If I didn't,
yeah, I paid way back when.
Yeah, it's like I didn't have to do that, and I owed a fair bit of cash to Trump and his train wreck, and I could have held on to it. Could have been money in my pocket, but you know, hey, here we are, folks. Hey, Kathy's in the house. We got Legionnaires in the house. We're good. We're up to 6 viewers, and probably at least 2 of them are John and me. Oh, down to 5. There you go, folks. Peaked. We peaked in the first 4 minutes of the show. Well, tonight I'm here to tell you that I'm tired of that goddamn hooch holler.
I don't blame you. You've been painting on it for a while, and sometimes you just get in a rut, and you just got to get out of that rut.
Yep, I got to get out of that rut. I'm taking Friday and Monday off, and I think I might just try to push on a couple of those days to get some painting done on it and get her pushed through. But tonight, I'm going to paint a pug. And I'm not going to bring a dog in here and like literally like put paint on his fur. That'd be disgusting. But I have a pug model from someplace I got it at a game store, I would assume, and he's cute. And I've been meaning to paint him. He's all zenithal shaded and everything, and I'm gonna.
He's a pug warrior. That'd be awesome.
He's a pug warrior. He's got a little bit of chain mail on him, and I believe it's a female. For reasons of lack of genitalia, and the fact that it is chainmail over where the nipples would be. Now, boy dogs have nipples too, but I don't think they wear the chainmails over them. So next time I see a pug with chainmail out in the wild, if you will, I will ask its owner, "Hey, male or female?" And not to judge. I'm not judging. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, the show should be fun. A little bit of frivolity, folks. Right now, I've got the camera set up as though I was going to be actually painting this with from a long distance, with the big model. Now I get to go on here and change it. So I'm going to do that right now because that's what we do. Hey, John, while I'm doing that, why don't you tell the folks at home what they could win on tonight? No, I'm just kidding. What are you having for a drink?
What I have to drink? So I am having this new concoction I made. I take my giant cup. I put in 2 giant ice cubes.
Okay.
And then I take a 20-ounce cherry cola of your choice. Pour that in, and then I pour in and top it off with a bit of cherry vodka.
That's doubling down on your cherries. That's good.
Oh! How would you like to triple down? Because then I take some tart cherry juice and I put that on top. I stir that up. I take a taste, and then if it's a little too tart, I add a little grenadine in just to hit it to the flavor I want.
See, now that's a cherry and a pomegranate. You're covering your bases on that one right now with your fruit profile. That's some good shit right there. What do you call it, John? What's the name of the drink?
I don't actually have a name for it, but it's damn tasty.
Oh, there you go. I'm not going to drink alcohol tonight. I drink plenty of alcohol during the week, and I think that I'm not going to drink tonight. And I want to get a good night's sleep, and I want to not drink and prove to myself I can. So I'm having a Diet Mountain Dew, which is cherry flavored, and I'm going to follow that with a sparkling water with blackberry flavor. And so on behalf of all of you out there that have joined us, all 7 of you, or however many there are, hey, Ron.
Ron. Oh, that's so tasty.
Yeah, I like Code Red, too. That does sound delicious, however.
It is. Like, honestly, I just on a whim saw the tart cherry juice, and I'm like, you know what? That'd be good to make something a little more cherry without adding too much sweetness to it.
And where did you procure this mystical juice?
I mean, it's at the grocery store.
Oh, it's just something you can get, huh?
Yeah, it's something you can get. Yeah, it's just there on the shelf. I was looking for something to add as a mixer, and I'm like, well, that'll work.
That sounds like a fine idea. I've been watching, as you know, How to Drink a fair amount.
As if I do not drink the smoker's cough.
Oh dear God! I watched that episode. He needs to get some feedback. I'm going to send it to him quick. Do not turn your show into Rhett and Link. We do not need, because that really ruined. I mean, Good Mythical Morning was really good before it turned into, look, we're going to eat weird shit. Yeah,
it gets a little too much of that. So, I mean, it's funny once in a while. It's a good, watch it once in a while. And I think as long as he does it once in a great while, it'll be fine. But he didn't enjoy that episode, and you could tell. And I'm like, why are you doing that, man?
Yeah, stop that. Stop putting frickin' mayonnaise in your Jägermeister coffee flavor. What?
Or the beef fizz? That was a good idea.
Worst part is non-alcoholic.
I know, you're not even getting up on it.
You're not even getting drunk. You're putting a beef fizz. Sounds like a problem you'd go see a urologist for.
Yeah, doctor, I got the beef fizz. Can you help?
Well, shit, where's your beef been? Do we need to do contact tracing? Because it sounds like we might need to do contact tracing.
Oh, we're already sideways. Just put off the rails.
Yeah, that's fine. So, How to Drink is a show. For those of you who are, everybody that's watching always watches this show, so I'm not sure
Yeah.
how to drink. It's on YouTube. Google it. Put your Googles on it. And there you go.
It's a good time. It is one of my two favorite drinking shows on YouTube.
Yeah, I really like it. There've been things that I've seen on there that I've made for myself that I've really enjoyed. I mean, the Jack Hart is a fine example of it. He has on his show, he had the good version of the Applejack, which is there's three versions that are sold. There's the regular Applejack from Laird that is 30% grain neutral spirits. So it's like it's not as Applejack as it could be. Then there's this shit called Jersey Lightning, which is 100 proof, and it's apple brandy and it's clear and it's gross. It's just bad.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's just
Well, my
bad.
stuff is let's see. See if I can figure out what the proof is on this. There's not a lot here.
What do you got there, John?
I have a Hartley apple.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is it?
It is
Oh, is that
really.
is that a cognac? Is it a VSOP?
It is VSOP, yeah.
Yeah. Cognac.
It is a good. It's a good little sip in or have a little shot once in a while.
Yeah, I
Change
like
taste.
that. I like a little
Which is
something.
why it's on my desk.
Yeah. There's the Applejack. I highly recommend the Applejack if you ever want to try it. It is not very apple. Don't think you're getting a bunch of apple because it ain't happening. And then there's another one that is it's dark in color. It's also 100 proof, and I don't know. It's almost like the Jersey Lightning was not aged in anything, and it's. I got to find the other stuff. I can order it online, but it's like so ridiculous. I need to maybe put up the feelers to Rich or something to keep an eye out for it. Anyway, it's from New Jersey, so it should be easier to find on maybe the East Coast. I don't know. So
Sub says, "Call my drink sweet red ball."
what?
He's on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. You know what? I wish the Facebook comments would come up here on the Restream chat.
It's gonna pop back and forth, so
That's
keep
good.
an eye on it.
Yep, keep an eye on it there. So like I said, we're going to paint this pug and not paint that hooch hauler. And, John, were you aware, did you know, that there was a remote lock and load 2020 keynote?
I did know that, but I mean, I should because there's a podcast we talked about it on Sunday.
Oh, you talked about it already. Okay.
A little bit. That's fine. I like talking about things multiple times.
Sure.
I've talked about Knives Out like a million times. I'll keep talking about that if I got to.
That's a good goddamn show.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to put the painting cam on here because then we can have it be a painting show. All right, here we go. Here's a pug. I'm a pug and I'm okay. All right, so let's see here. I got to find a cream color for pug fur. And what's a pug fur? About $1.50. All right, so let's try some Menoff white base, perhaps. We'll try that out.
Might be a little light.
It might be. I'm looking at a picture of a pug over here. And
That's what I do, and I can't recommend that enough. People, pull up a picture of what you're painting. Like, it'll help.
yeah.
Like, it'll just give you an idea.
I think this might be a good first coat. We'll lay down a base of the pug fur.
It'll be a good neutral coat at the very least, so you can put whatever. Right. Like, I'm painting this up as a sort of New York City sort of yellow and black taxi cab. So
Sure.
Start off with the yellowish brown, and then I just took I just got a pictures of taxi cabs, and figured out what I want to do with them. I'm trying to go for sort of the classic look, so I'll be doing like the very heavy chrome on things.
Sure.
But I wouldn't have thought of that necessarily if I didn't look at the picture of the classic ones. Like, oh, they did a lot of chrome back then.
Yep.
So we'll do that.
Going for kind of a Corbin Dallas kind of a thing.
Yeah, because he has that classic look too in that.
Yep.
I like the classic look, so we're gonna go with that.
Yep. Why would
Because, yeah, exactly.
you? All right. So, what were we talking about?
Keynote.
Oh yeah, the keynote. So the first, the biggest thing I think that came out of it that I was pretty surprised about was the rewrite of the Iron Kingdoms RPG,
I was
because
a little surprised about that too. It's not that old, or is it?
I don't know,
Kind of is. Isn't it?
been around, and
Yikes.
the
Old.
so I mean, for those of you playing along at home, will remember that the original version of the IKRPG and was a D20 system uh, type
Indeed.
RPG. So
We
when
can even go further and tell them that the first adventure for the Iron Kingdoms was actually a third edition open gaming license adventure with Alexa and the Risen.
that yeah, wasn't that part of the first part of the Witchfire trilogy or whatever it was?
Yep. And I will also tell you it was one of the first to hit the shelves, and probably the highest quality of the first ones hit the shelves. Hashtag I used to work for a game distributor. I saw all that stuff.
Yeah, and so I mean it has its roots in sort of not a proprietary system, and then they came out with the version of IKRPG that we've known for the last few years, which was ostensibly a rewrite of the miniatures game, the War Machine and Hordes miniatures game, for an RPG type of an execution. And that's the one that I played because I didn't have I wasn't role playing a whole lot when the original OGL Open Gaming License product was out, and so that's how I cut my teeth. And I liked the system very much. It was something I could pick up and almost immediately know the rules. There was a little nuance, but it wasn't bad. It was a combat centric system. I mean, a lot of it was based upon you're going to have an encounter, and that's why the miniature rules, really did a nice job of capturing that. So, but I don't know. It's never had a huge following. It had its biggest following was, of course, as much as Privateer is within the true believers that have already existed. War Machine, at least in the last few years, hasn't necessarily brought a lot of people to the party.
That's putting it lightly.
And they have not grown the game since they did away with the press gang core.
Hey, let's put it bluntly: releasing shit and then just walking away.
Yep.
It's like, this is awesome. Yeah. Can we have something to go with your awesome? No, just the awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Be more awesome with other stuff. Just saying.
And for the RPG, they did create they did create a few books. I mean, not many.
Yeah.
But a few. And so they're coming out and they're saying that they are going to make a version with 5th edition rules. So they're going to make it compatible with D&D 5e.
I'll get some of that D&D monies again.
Yep.
Sure. Okay. I mean, so, and to answer my question from earlier, answer my own question, 2012, sir, was the last edition of IKRPG.
Wow.
So it's been a little bit.
2012 is when the current version came out, huh?
Oh shit, Hailboop remembered to show up. I am surprised.
How you doing, buddy?
Speaking of which, there was someone else who mentioned he'd love to come and chat with us and drink with us while we're chatting.
So Hailboop, in case you've missed it, we're just kind of talking a little bit about some of the stuff that came out in the Privateer Press virtual
The Keynote.
Keynote speech thing that happened. Does anybody but Hungerford and Oz work there anymore?
I don't know, honestly.
I mean, they're the only ones that show up on the streams.
Could just be them.
And then then farm out all the other stuff and just do it like freelance or?
Could be. Also, honestly, I mean, who's really working much for a gaming company right now during COVID?
Yeah. Yep, you're right.
And, I'm not judging on that because that's the way it is for everyone right now. That's all fine. But yeah, we're talking a little bit about that and otherwise. But yeah, so Eating microwave pizza had the most boomerific 4-day weekend ever. Well, I'm not a boomer. Fair enough. Yeah, there are others, but none of the people we know. Yeah, true. It's really generous. We don't really know any other people, but that's all good. I mean,
Not anymore.
yeah. I mean, any company's gonna do that, and they've had a lot of turnover. They're a company that's in interesting times. Let's say.
Yeah, and now they just launched a Kickstarter for the next version of Riot Quest.
And to also, since this is a big deal, they also mentioned they're going to be doing everything Kickstarter.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Oh yeah, they're doing all their big releases Kickstarter, from what I understand. I don't know if it's not going to be like everything, but they announced they're going to do stuff Kickstarter.
Well, at least they won't. They must be having trouble getting distributors to sign on to even want to carry their product anymore.
It might be. I mean, it is what it is, but I did hear that, and it was a little. I mean, it's a little worrisome.
Yeah.
And I understand why, because if you've got a company that is now saying they're only going to do Kickstarter stuff when they were really, full company doing their own releases. And I'm not 100% sure everything, but they did mention like the next batch of Warcaster is going to be Kickstarter, the new Riot Quest, but
When you say the next,
so we'll have to
you're
see.
talking about the Game Warcaster, right?
Yeah, the game Warcaster, yes. Let me see if I can get any cool stuff from the recap here. Was it Riot Quest Season 2? And I think, honestly, it's interesting that they're doing Riot Quest Season 2. It feels a little too much like they're trying to do exactly what Games Workshop is doing with Warhammer Underworlds.
Okay. Enlighten.
So they're doing that. They do it too. They do a new box set. It's a new season. They're all stuff to be done together. But if you're playing it quote unquote competitively, I think you use the most recent season stuff. I don't really know how that works as far as competitive. No one's really doing any of that. But they just every season they have a new box set. I mean, I've got 2 of them right here. And they've had at least one more release since then.
Okay.
So I mean, interesting. I mean, with a sort of board miniatures game like that, you do kind of need to keep it fresh. So it is a good call to keep doing it. I don't want to say like, oh, this was the wrong call. Like, no, it is probably the right call. It's just for a game that already smacks a bit of stealing the idea from another company, you're really doubling down on it. Leisure said that Matt Wilson said on a podcast they're having trouble getting distributors keeping new stock past initial release. Yes, that's a problem. I mean, distributors have always had problems getting private press stuff, but now they choose to have the problems. It's weird. They're a company that's in a weird place, and if I followed more of their stuff, I'd be very worried.
Yeah, I mean, I want to like Riot Quest. I mean, I haven't played it, but I just don't know.
It looks like it's a hoot.
Yeah, I just don't know if I've got room for it in my life. I mean, if I'm gonna play, I don't know. I guess I'd rather just play Nemesis.
Even if you want different, like I've played Warhammer Underworlds multiple times, it's a fun game. And I think, honestly, it may be a better game than Riot Quest, but it's striving for something different.
Okay.
GW is literally making a game for the first time ever that they want to be competitive. They want it to be super balanced and everything, so they do a lot of errata and stuff for it. So, I mean, it's an interesting place for them to be in. It's very fun. It's enjoyable. Even with the same warband, it plays differently every time. So, it's interesting. But Riot Quest also looks like they have a fun game. If you don't have that or you don't need GW models, maybe you don't want to deal with GW, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've already... John, it's so bad in GW that they've had a crisis and already solved it between Sunday and today.
That's certainly different than other companies we could name.
Yeah, and to give people who are talking about it, they had a problem with the new Indominus box set, which is the 40K 9th edition release box is not the starter set. I say this a million times. It's sort of like the new release. It's got a bunch of cool Primaris Marines, and it's got a bunch of Necrons. And it sold out in like 12.5 seconds flat. Their website crashed. Jay's website crashed. That would be Discount Games Inc. for everyone out there.
Yep.
And people were having a hard time getting the amount they ordered. And apparently scalpers were buying them all, as scalpers do. And then GW's like, oh, everyone couldn't get it and there's scalpers out there? All right, how about we just make this thing where you could just order it and we'll make it to order. You might take a little longer, tiny bit longer to get, but we'll make it to order. So now you can order as many as you want. Yep.
And
that's...
Is that like the starter set for 9th edition?
No, it is definitely not the starter set. It is just a new... It's like the release thing. It's to showcase 9th edition, but it's not like a 9th edition starter set.
Okay.
But they've already solved the problem, which is interesting and also very awesome if you hate scalpers and you want them to be stuck with product they can't sell for a ton of money.
Yeah, scalpers are terrible.
They are. So that's all solved. Pardon me for the coughing, got something in my throat. But yeah, they've already had that solved, and people got like really, really upset. To the point where like on Saturday, people were like up in arms on Twitter, and then some people were like, "Oh God, I totally overreacted yesterday. Heat in the moment. I'm sorry. I care, but I shouldn't be that upset." And then Monday, like when you give them a chance to fucking fix something, because it was the weekend, they weren't working, and it's fixed.
They should be working on the weekends.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's very heartening to see a company come in and fix something.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, oh shit, this is a problem. Like, this is a limited box set, but people want more of it. Well, let's just fucking just go.
Let's give them more.
Yeah, let's give more. We can do it. I mean, maybe they weren't sure it was going to be that. I mean, who knows in COVID time how many people have money to buy stuff? Everyone's worried. There's a lot of people who aren't spending a lot of money. But it is good to see them fix it. I always was like, it's a box set. You'll get the models eventually, guys. It'll be okay. But I know how we are. We have to get it now.
If I don't have
My
it
roommate
now,
was like,
I'll never be able to have it. What?
Yeah, I mean, like, I've had to stop myself from the whole, well, I have to buy it on release because it may eventually become discontinued. Like, yeah, Jen, it might become discontinued in a couple years. There's very few things that are models and they're like, hey, discontinued, you can never get this again. On the internet, anywhere. Because I found I ended up with so much extra stuff I didn't need. So I'm taking it slow. You know, like a responsible adult. I hate being a responsible adult. I know. I hate being a responsible adult.
Your jam?
My thing. No, it's not my jam. I say it's not my bag. But no, I was pleased with that. And then again, overall, what I've heard of the PwMJ Press keynote was cool and fine. Just the Kickstarter thing worries people. Hopefully, it's just for a little bit, just for certain things. The impression I got is the keynote overall because I actually don't care that much. But the impression I got from that is that they were looking at for most things to do Kickstarter, but maybe it is just the big releases. But yeah, if they're having problems getting distributors to keep stock because stores aren't keeping stock because you've made games where people buy what they need and they're done. There's no buzz to what's coming out anymore.
Yeah, there just isn't, and there's nobody in the stores pushing it forward either.
Legionnaire said it was their best keynote in 4 years.
Really?
It may have been. I mean, to be honest, we all thought that the Mark III release was going to be like a keynote, but that was just giant fucking trolling.
Yeah, and I was there for that one.
You were live. I was watching it, and there are people in Australia who were so pissed, and I felt really bad for those guys. But man, it is a terrible trolling. Like they definitely had dropped the ball there.
Still feel like that was Matt Wilson exercising his ego.
Might have been. Because this is the kind of podcast I can talk about that on. Rumor has it that's one of the big problems with the company.
Yeah. Well,
and my buddy used to work there, and he's like, they have some problems. I'm like, I know they do. He's like, oh.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, I wish the best for them. As I've said multiple times, I just think games have passed me by. It's time to look at other stuff. It's fine. I mean, I know they're losing people because GW is actually doing good stuff. And actually, I like it. We were talking to my roommate. The GW turnaround is sort of like the same thing TSR did. TSR put out D&D 4th edition, which a lot of people didn't like because it was completely different than what they had before. And everyone they got rid of a lot of the sacred cows. They actually innovated, and then people were up in arms, and they lost a lot of players to Pathfinder, which was basically D&D 3.75 from their 3.5. So then eventually they're like, all right, this isn't working. Let's do D&D 5th edition. They go back, bring back their sacred cows, go back to the well, so to speak. And everyone jumped ship from Pathfinder back to them. It's the same thing GW did. I mean, GW put out a shit edition of 40K. People left. They killed Fantasy. People left. They all went to War Machine. And then GW, they realized that Age of Sigmar wasn't that bad. Or they realized that then GW put out another edition of 40K that wasn't that bad. They found out, and then they all moved back. This is what happens when you're not the big man.
Yeah.
You get an influx of players when the big guy does something stupid, and then when they fix it, you lose players.
Yeah. It's sad.
It is. I mean, but you have to see that. You have to have and it's hard. I'm not going to blame them for this. You have to have your finger on the pulse of the market so much better. Because you remember, I mean, this is funny to say this. I know you remember, that whole system because that was when they couldn't get models in stock.
Yep.
And rather than upping their production to cover the models, they were, business as usual because like this isn't going to last. Then it started to last. And then they sort of bought into their own hype, and then it didn't last.
Yeah. Yep.
They could have possibly made it last by having better availability back then. I don't know how many people would have gotten upset. And we're getting really deep into this, so if this is boring, sorry guys. They might have been able to make it last longer if they had the models available. I don't know how many people would have left because they couldn't get models, and a lot of people were disheartened and would maybe do something else.
Yeah, I mean, we've documented the rise and fall of privateer press time and time again on this show.
That's just because we care.
Yep, we do.
Well, like I said, I might not have played one of their games in, at this point, more than a year, but I still care. A lot of them still care about it enough to try and keep models, though I noticed that even the local group of people who are just, usually the guy to keep all the models ever are starting to get rid of stuff. So, be interesting to see.
This is
so
more
now they have the Chinese factory holding the plastic molds hostage? I have not heard of that, but I mean, I've heard of that happening to people, but not that it was happening for Privateer Press. I've heard multiple times of factories holding molds hostage.
That's something.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, this whole thing shows, to make it bigger, our over reliance on cheap Chinese labor.
Yep.
GW can make their own sprues in-house in the UK and technically also in America. Though, spoiler, they don't make many in America because it's just a tax write-off. But I went into that plenty of times. But they can. Like, if shit happened, they can be like if it's like suddenly we need all the stuff, they could send molds to the US and have the US make stuff. And they may do it from time to time. I haven't been in the know for quite some time. But, I mean, you can't let a company hold you hostage like that. Legionnaires, they've been plastic vortex available months, but to be fair, since they come from China, that's not really a surprise. Everything coming from China is slower right now. And I think, to be honest, the first North or South American location that could make that kind of plastic mold would make a killing. Because suddenly becomes a lot easier to get it. It would be... pre-COVID? But it would definitely make a killing, and that's business talk, You could definitely make a killing in that if you guys want to move to some place where you can get labor cheaper and get some make a mold making facility. That'd be a good place to put some money.
Yeah, it's just that the problem there is that the governments tend to be somewhat of a bag of hammers. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to get any kind of reliable production out of those areas.
Yep. That's all because we want cheap plastic models. I'm curious. I'm curious what it would cost, assuming, after startup fees, what it would cost day to day to have that kind of company in the U.S. What kind of increase would we see on prices? That's an interesting mental exercise I would like to have the answer to.
Yeah, I mean it's.
I mean, pay people like a living wage, so $15 an hour, because there's a lot of places where you can do warehouses where $15 an hour is a good living wage.
Yep. Business to, let's say we picked up privateer because it's pretty cheap here.
It would be a lot less. The bottom line there would be a lot better.
Yep.
Because work would be the same or cheaper, the labor, and then the location rental would be cheaper because I imagine you can rent a location cheaper for there, which is why they moved out of and then moved to some place, I don't know, further out of the city, a little more remote, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I don't know where that place is where they are right now. Anything's cheaper than Bellevue.
Oh God, yeah. These are just shipping hubs there. That's why GW's headquarters is in Memphis, Tennessee. Not for any reason because of Memphis, but because it was a shipping hub, and the land was cheap, and they got lots of deals from FedEx because it's really close to their major hub. There's a lot that goes into that, but interesting. So, back to the main topic, Keynote, John.
The point of putting it though in some place, we want it to go to some place where they're going to be willing to pay a living wage, and it's not going to be where the laws of the state in question are not simply going to take advantage of the workers.
That's true. And having done some research on it, there are states in the South that do not have minimum wage.
Yeah.
Which is mind-boggling, but luckily the federal government does, but it's still not a living wage. It's a minimum wage. It's not living.
Yeah, it's keeping, prisoners with prisoners with jobs, not a thing.
Yeah, I did some research for housing. There was a big argument on Facebook in the morning on a Saturday when I had nothing to do. So you're going to get a hell of an argument. Stuff out there. You want to throw actual facts.
So we can talk more about the keynote. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
They're gonna release some troll models, which seems nice.
Cool. They need to keep. So Legionnaire said, "I'm cutting it out."
You're cutting it. There's some some small network issues.
Yeah, there's been a lot of hacking today. Apparently, I saw that on Twitter. So.
Yeah.
Sorry for that, guys. We'll do our best.
It's coming through to me fine. It may be on my end. I haven't touched anything, so there's not a whole lot I can check out.
Yeah, I get you a little cut out once in a while, like a word here or there, maybe at the end, but it has been big. But it's all good. We'll make it work.
Yep. I was on a Teams call today. That were in Germany and folks that were, all over the place, and there was enough bandwidth hits that we basically had to stop the meeting. It's the first time in the COVID era of using teleconferencing that it was just so bad we had to walk in the other direction. I don't know. I guess I'm starting to. He's getting there.
Yeah, he's coming along. Oh, hail boop, man! That is crazy. Commuting from Harper's Ferry to Millersville, Maryland. Oh, that's a bag of dicks. Because Millersville's up in my normal stomping ground near where I used to live. Mm-hmm. Not so much where I live now, but that's a heck of a trip, dog. An hour, if you're lucky. When COVID stops and you got traffic, good luck.
Is that a new gig?
Sounds like it's a new gig. But
might hit the relocation.
I mean, an hour is not terrible. I've done hour drives. I mean, hell, on an average morning, not during COVID time, my drive's almost an hour.
So we're talking right now. My group is probably not going to be going back to work at the headquarters building anytime soon.
Oh,
So, yeah, I guess I got a lot of work to do on getting the color of the fur correct. But he's coming together now that I got a little bit of armor on, a little bit of different color. He's coming together.
yeah, absolutely. And I love to get the base colors down because it all starts to come together and show you what you need.
I think I want to give him human eyes. I think I want to give him like white eyes with pupils and stuff.
That might be creepy. That also might be cool.
But I mean, a pug. They're like.
I mean, yeah, but
I mean, I'm looking at pictures here. They're like a dark brown. Maybe I could just put some dark brown paint on it. Let's see what I got here. Like an umbral umber or something like that. Battlefield brown. Yeah, let's try that. And then I can always put a little.
You can also even do a little bit in there. You can do the brown, then might be able to do a little bit of pupil and pure black. Maybe it'll show up. Who knows?
Yeah, I'll give it like a little highlight, like a little white highlight spot, maybe. And then I'll glaze it so that it's and then I'll put a little gloss on it so that it pops.
So my buddy Joe Sloboda, who used to be Work Games Workshop with me, always said it's easier to paint eyes by doing the whole color and then doing a little bit of white at the corners. And you might be able to do that just a little bit with the pug eyes to make it work too. Yeah, I don't think you need both corners of the pug eyes. I think you just need one corner because dog eyes, you don't really see that much whites.
Yeah. Yep. There. So I just put a little brown on there. Now I think I'm going to come back with a little bit of black right in the middle for the pupil, and then I'll probably put a little glaze on them or something. I'll just put a little dot on there. This is coming together so fast.
So it's funny, John. I find it very amusing that I can use other channels' emotes in our channel.
That is fine.
There you go. Have some thumbs up. Oh wait, we're doing pugs. Hold on. Boom. How's that?
Boom. Achievement unlocked. Pugging it.
Oh.
I'm pugging it. Okay. Gonna get a little Nolan oil here.
Oh, no oil. Stuff of the gods there. I am currently painting the Daily Bugle. It's coming along pretty well.
Good.
I just need to figure out some more colors. It's coming.
That's very nice.
What's funny is I chose sort of red and white, and then I looked like, oh, what's the Daily Bugle logo colors? And I look, and I'm like, oh, it's red and white and black. Okay, thumbs up for justice. I will take any victory I can get. But it's all good. So yeah, I mean, it's good that PrepTorrents is doing a good keynote. It's cool that they're still engaging, and I'm glad that they got a good plan, Sort of like the same thing we said about Games Workshop. Every healthy game company who's competition for Games Workshop also helps.
Yep.
Because it keeps them all sharper.
Pushes them to be excellent.
Yep, because if you're not good enough, there's that guy right behind you waiting.
Yep. It's like we said so many times, if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's put a little bit of wash on here.
Oh, yeah. So speaking of that, John, did you and Rich take a look at MWO?
We have not yet, but we are going to.
I will let you know it is not a game at its height. It's still got a lot of players, but it's not at its height at all.
Oh, that's fine.
But it's fun.
You know you know what it's better than? Goddamn Elite Dangerous, where every time you come up with a way to actually make some money and have fun in the game, they kill it. That game. That game can die in a fire.
That's too bad because you guys really loved that game.
Yep. We had so they came out with these fleet carriers, and basically they made mining and there was in the algorithm they had places you could go that you could make serious bank. and then they just ruined it. And fleet carriers are $5 billion to get into, 5 billion credits. I had about like 7 billion after all the work I've done in that game. And you have to, they have upkeep. So if you're not continuing to farm money, you're just going to lose your shit, your carrier. And
yeah, that's a poor design thing.
oh, that's terrible. It just was a mess. It's a mess. And
Yeah, that's weird. So actually here, because I didn't play MechWarrior Online from the beginning, but my roomie did. He said it used to be that in the game, if you expended ammunition and took damage, that would come out of your money at the end of the game. And somewhere along the line, they decided that was stupid and it was causing people to not play right, so they got rid of it. Which I think is a great call. You know, it doesn't matter. You get your ass whooped in a game. It doesn't matter. You know, you got 1,000 and you make way more than that every game.
Mhm.
And that's assuming you use the consumable, and then you're ready to go on to the next match.
Yep. And you know, we play crossout. Crossout smart. If they pay attention to what's going on in the game, they rebalance things, and they don't make it unfun. And you know, goddamn Frontier Development or whatever the hell they FDev. They just anytime they're having fun. Better nerf that shit right now.
Yeah, it's generally, as long as it's not fun at the expense of other people's funds, it's perfectly good.
Yeah.
And harmless, sure. It's broken harmless. Let it go. That's good game design, in my opinion.
It just means that more people can go get the big fleet carriers and have fun. That's all that was going to happen.
You can't put your big fun thing in there and not let people use the fun thing.
Furthermore, they made having they penalized you for owning the big fun thing.
Yeah, there's someone in charge of that who I guess thinks that people like that granular, you know, money. Let's make sure I make the right amount of money and everything. We want accounting simulator? No, you're playing Elite Dangerous. You want to make money so you can have your starships and you can go have fun and explore and blow shit up and make more money.
Yeah, and they just were taking that part of the game completely out.
Which is too bad. Because other than that, it looked like every time I saw you guys play, it looks like you guys are having a great time and it looks like it was super fun.
Yep, once upon a time it was.
Yeah. All things change, unfortunately.
Yep. I'm pretty happy with how this has progressed in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, it's coming along well. The Dragon Pup, Dragon Pup, says, if I wanted to play XL in space, I'd play EVE Online. Yeah,
no doubt about it.
You might as well, because that's got all the player base, even now.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, that is really coming along.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with him. A little bit more wash on him here. Now I'll go back, I'll touch up. I want to do some things with the shield. I want to fancy it up a little bit, put a little bit of blue in here, and fancy it up a little bit. I need to get a little more brown wash on his legs here, because it looks like I missed something here. It's kind of sad.
Huh. Yes, EVE Online does have epic trolling, which is true. But the people who do the epic trolling, like, I'm sure the people who are affected by it are pissed off, but everyone else, like, the rest of people are like, wow, dude, you put effort into that. People put effort into that level of trolling. It's impressive.
Yeah, when you get to business in EVE, that's some serious stuff.
And people get pissed, I understand it, and I do feel for you guys, but man, from an outsider's perspective, man, epic level trolling.
Yep, for sure. Now I'm going to take a little bit of this highlight here, and I'm just going to catch the eyebrows.
So yeah, has anyone got any questions in the chat room for us?
Yeah, were there any flippity bloops? Probably not.
I did not see. I checked a couple, and I did not see anything. Let me check War Machine and Horde's painting group real quick. So now you post in there. And that's probably the only War Machine and Horde's group I'm still a member of.
Yep. It's only when it matters.
Absolutely. I can appreciate painted models all the time. It's all super cool. Oh, It looks like your post might have gotten buried by lots of really cool paint jobs.
That's okay. You gotta get
Yeah,
buried by
that's-
something. A really cool paint job's the way to go.
Yeah, no doubt. And there's lots of really good stuff. Actually, even some solid paint jobs. I'm glad people are. I'm glad people aren't afraid to post everything they're painting. You should never be afraid to post what you're painting.
Oh,
We're
100%.
not all, pro painters and all that. Just you put it up there, people can give you ideas. People are going to help you because that's what we do. We help each other. Like there's no, I got no ego in any of this shit. Ain't no percentage in that. That's just crazy talk. Let's see. Where's your post? Oh, you know what we forgot to do, and I figure we have to. You got your drink handy?
Oh, I can get. Yes.
Grant Imahara.
Oh yeah. Hey, Grant Imahara. Hey, Ron. For fuck's sakes, that guy. Never know when.
Tragic.
Never know when that shit's gonna happen.
Yeah. All right. Does using the airbrush ever get to be less of a pain? I assume pain to use. He said paint to use, but I assume less of a pain to use. John?
I mean, I don't use it for probably up to its capability. It's not that big of a pain. I think the key to making airbrushing less of a chore is to make sure, first off, I much prefer to use a pre-mixed airbrush paint than trying to do something where I thin down even a privateer, because this stuff it flows, it doesn't jam up. This is Minotaur. This is Badger Airbrushes line of paints. I love them. I bought the full set at Gen Con a million years ago, or Adepticon a million years ago, and I still have it, and it still is good paint. The other, to basically have your stuff set up. I mean, you've got your area that you're going to be airbrushing in. Make sure you got your Windex to clean out with this right container. Make sure you've got a place to dump and spent paint in to get rid of it right away, so that you're just kind of working in the same area. You're not tearing ass all over the place, because it's just that just makes it a lot more enjoyable. You'll develop a system, and Legionnaires. The way I have my station set up, and sometime maybe I'll put a camera over there and show you, is I've got a booth that vents through a dryer hose to actually this house used to have a dryer in the basement, so I have it connected up to that to vent it out, and that doesn't even really work all that well, but and then I've got next to it, I have all my paints laid out, and then I have my little pot that I have that you can stick the tip of the airbrush in to eject the mist, so it doesn't go all over the place when you're cleaning out. And then I've got my little bottle of Windex, and it's a bottle like this size, and I just have Windex in it. This is Future Floor Wax, believe it or not, which has some interesting properties if you use it as a I forget what I used to use that for. Anyway, I haven't used it in a long time. And then the pot is a really good thing where it sticks it in there, and then you have a Trump just demoted his campaign manager Brad Parscale and promoted Bill Stepien to take his place. So it probably went from a snake to a box of glass. Anyway, so that's really what it is having the ability to get that stuff out of there, because and the other thing you're probably would be really good to invest in is an ultrasonic jewelry cleaner that you can every now and again you take and you put it in there, and it'll get all the gunk out of it. Now, I don't have an expensive airbrush because I don't do intricate work. Rich Brotman turned me on to a really cheap one, like $50 on Amazon, and it's way better than any of the other Badgers that I've had over the years because it doesn't clog. It's got bigger tolerances in it, and it just doesn't.
Or
clog
wait for
up.
the yearly Badger sale and buy one of them at.
So
or keep a look on what's that fucking site? Micromark.
Yep.
There's a bunch of tools and stuff. I bought mine because they had a huge sale on it. It's still in the box, but I have it. As soon as we clean some rooms out, the roomie and I have an airbrush we can use for priming and stuff. And since I hand prime it, I'll save a lot of time.
Yeah, I love airbrushing for priming and zenithal shading. And zenithal shading will increase your painting speed by 50%. It's just that big a deal. Yeah, there we go. Just doing a little wet blending on his shoulders and stuff, just to kind of get them so that they look a little bit more natural.
Yeah, Kathy, Micromark is great.
Very interesting tools and lots of interesting little doodads in there.
That's where I got the hobby shank. I mean, seam scraper.
That's right, and I have one too, and I wouldn't leave home without it.
No, it's great. It is really. It's funny how I don't think about it as much right now because I put together so few models because I hold on to all your hearts for everyone who's not familiar with what I've been doing recently. I'm actually painting models.
Yeah, you are.
I mean, that's not really a joke anymore. I've been painting models for like months and months, but it used to be a great joke.
We used to joke about it on the show.
It's still a great tool. It's still a great tool for that.
I like how this turned out.
Yeah, it's.
I can't. I mean, here you can see it a little bit easier, I think, on this camera.
Not really.
No.
No, that's small on my screen. You're.
I'll post it to the painting. I'm going to post it on the Painting with Men Auth John site. So, guys, if you don't subscribe to the Painting with Men Auth John site, you should. I mean, I think most everybody that's even watching this show, you know, they're. I mean, you probably.
Yeah, you guys
have seen this.
You guys are best friends.
Been around here forever. Come on, there we go. Let me see if I can get this to not suck ass. Okay, hang on.
Should be good. Phone cameras are really good nowadays.
Yeah, it's not the camera, it's the problem. It's the guy taking the picture. All right, there we go. So it's posted. Pug whip, I'll call it. Pug whip.
Pug whip.
Pug whip. All right. Yeah. There you go.
Look, there's a Dave Taylor post with lots of painted models. I bet he took less time than your pug because he's amazing like that. Oh, that is looking like it looks good with where I had it. That looks even better like that. Holy crap!
Yeah, he's looking pretty good. I like the little eyebrows.
Oh yeah.
And it's mostly just, you know, it's a little bit of I started off with off white base and just kind of gave him a base coat. Here, I'll take a picture of the back too, so you guys can see what he looks like from the rear. In the rear with the gear.
These summer sales and all sorts of stuff are going crazy. I need to stop spending money. I bought 3 BattleTech knockoff models that are big scale. I'll be putting together after I get done with my Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff. They have to get here from New Zealand too, but I actually got Venom too, John. He
nice.
It's on sale on a. So he's part of the he was part of the swag bag for Adepticon.
Oh, okay.
And the Hulk, so you can find those guys cheap. So I found them cheap on Amazon. I'm like, sure, why not? See if I can make him get a smaller tongue, because his tongue's a little excessive. Little. And by little, I mean a lot.
Okay, there. I just posted the back of the pug. So
back of the pug!
Back. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's just coming along really well.
Yeah, I'm going to fuck around with him a little bit more. And then,
I mean, it's great to have a model like that after, you know, the giant model that's got all the details.
Oh, I know.
2 bears that were so much more to paint than that guy.
Yep. So, there you go. And so I think, what time is it? Yeah, it's time to not talk about. It's time to not paint anymore. Let's get over to the media section.
Time to not paint anymore.
Let's go over to the media section, as we are wont to do.
As we are wont.
Let's see. You want to lead off? I want me to lead off.
Well, I don't have a ton to talk about, but actually I have multiple things to talk about.
Cool.
Let's start with Clone Wars.
Yep.
Progressing through it, maybe not as fast as I want. It's not quite gotten to the point where I feel like I can watch 2 episodes in a day.
Okay.
I think it's starting to get better, but like Episode 3, from my review of Star Wars Episode 3, it was scathing because it was almost there. And being able to see the potential made it that much more disheartening as you watch the shit that it ended up being.
Yeah.
I still feel like they have the whole Night Sisters thing going on now.
Oh yeah.
And I think the 1960s are excessively dumb.
Oh, okay.
I mean, having actual magic is a little out there,
Fair enough.
and sort of the way they're portraying. And this is not all their problem. Part of it, like the way they're portraying the Force, sometimes is like the same thing problem they have with a whole bunch of other like later stuff, even where it's like out of Jedi's hands, that shit would have happened a million times.
Yeah. I'll
So,
grant you that. I mean, we talk about that when I'm watching Clone Wars with the family too. Is that hey, look, they remember they've got the Force.
yeah, I think this is also, it's made for kids. We're still season 3. It's still ostensibly made for kids. And I accept the fact that there'll be a point where they realize it's not mostly for kids anymore, where they realize, or the last season, I'm sure it's going to get great, but it's mediocre right now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Hey, Kathy,
But-
thank you very much for the compliment, saying that it was adorable. That's nice.
Oh, don't worry about it. You don't need to apologize for it. I mean, I wanted to watch it. I wanted to see it. I haven't.
Yeah.
I need to see it. I just think, and I'm not going to blame anyone, a lot of people, and John's not one of them. He actually gave me a more measured response. A lot of people were like, it's the best Star Wars ever. And you're watching it, you're like, no, sir, it's not.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I don't know. I still think Rogue One is my favorite.
Rogue One's really, really good. The Mandalorian's really good.
Yeah, Mandalorian's really good.
But to
Mandalorian's
be
gonna
fair,
be-
I think Star Wars is much more hit than miss, and I think the misses all happen, and no offense to anyone, in the prequel stuff, in my opinion, and I know John doesn't necessarily agree, because I feel they got away from the core of what is Star Wars.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm not a huge fan of the prequels.
Every time there's a freaking political thing, I'm like, hashtag we don't care about politics. It was never about politics. It was not about who's right or wrong. It was there is right and there is wrong, like the old serials. And the good guys are the underdogs, and this is how they fight. That was the whole premise of it, which
Yep.
I think is one of the things the sequel trilogy got right, them being the underdog. I mean, we'll talk about that when I get there, though.
Yeah, for sure.
But still going through it. John, what do you want to talk about first?
I watched Belinda and I have the Lake House. It is ostensibly a romantic movie, starring Keanu Reeves and
Yep.
Sandra Bullock. And the premise of the movie is that Keanu Reeves, or this Sandra Bullock, is leaving this lake house, which is this architectural wonder that's built in the greater Chicago area. Not sure where exactly it is. They're not real specific about it, other than that it is in the greater Chicago area. And by placing it in the mailbox of the house, she gets in contact with a previous resident of that from 2 years in the past.
Oh.
And they're able to communicate in real time, because when someone puts a letter in the mailbox and flips the flag up, the flag flips up for the other person, so they know to go walk over and look at the mailbox. And one thing leads to another, and they end up falling in love. And what it deals with is how they're trying to actually get. Solo is on Disney Plus right now.
Yep.
So, and it's also on Netflix. Oh yeah, Disney Plus.
No, it's not on Netflix now. As the Disney stuff comes end of its contract, they're pulling it off Netflix, putting it on Disney Plus.
Got it. So I'm not going to give away a whole lot of spoilers on it. It's an interesting concept for a kind of science fiction-y or science fantasy type of a concept like that to be pulled into a romantic movie like this. And I really enjoyed it.
Excellent. I mean, that's all. Sometimes all it takes. I mean, I remember. You might remember it too. Somewhere.
It's not a long walk off of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you add a science fiction concept to a romance movie, and so it becomes way more interesting for some of us.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. I think Keanu Reeves did a nice job, as he does. He's a fine actor. I think Sandra Bullock does a nice job. She's not a
Will kind of fall in love again?
yeah, she's not a super great actress, but she's super cute, and she's right in
She
my
has her
wheelhouse
moments.
of she's right in my wheelhouse of what I like, what I'm attracted to as far as someone. If I see somebody on the screen, I go, "Oh yeah, she's attractive." I mean, she's got that kind of a. She's not model beautiful, but she's a darn fancy looking lady, and there is some terrible acting in the movie yet. There's a the guy that plays Keanu Reeves' brother in the show couldn't act his way out of a wet paper bag. I mean, he could have had a gun at his head and he's fucked. You know, it's like he could not act his way out of a wet paper bag. It was terrible. But I would give it, I'd give it a one glass of red wine. You know, it's like you're watching a romantic movie. You should have a glass of red wine with it.
Wait, you don't drink Kraken during romantic movies? That may be what I've been doing wrong.
You may want to try a glass of red wine. And it turned out that I had some red wine in the house for some things that I was cooking. So,
To be fair, the last romance I saw was like probably Padme and Anakin. No, it wasn't actually.
that's not a romance. That's
The last romance I saw was in The Old Guard, which is a Netflix movie. I'm not going to talk about. I will maybe if you see it too. But they have two characters who are gay and in love, and when they get captured, and the one meathead's like, "Oh, what is he, your boyfriend?" And the guy just goes on the most beautiful speech ever of what that guy means to him. And then they kiss and make all the stupid meatheads uncomfortable. I'm like, fuck yes.
yeah. There you go. Good
That
job.
is what you need to see in there. It was that moment is. I mean, if you're into that stuff, it's The Old Guard's worth watching in addition. But that moment is great in that movie.
Fantastic.
So.
I'm going to review later after you do your next thing. I have a something I bought that I'm going to talk about.
Cool. Well, actually, the next thing I need to talk about before Forsaken Pop-Tart, a.k.a. Brian Fox, goes off onto me anymore,
Okay.
is Netflix announced they're doing an Usagi Yojimbo series.
Okay. I don't know what that is, but
Usagi Yojimbo is a long-running comic book. It is basically a samurai rabbit.
okay. Well, there you go. Samurai and rabbit together seems like something I would watch.
It is very cool. They have, of course, crossed over with plenty of things in their time, but it's basically going to see samurai movies with those sort of anthropomorphized animals, and it's always been very good. So I am interested to see where that goes.
Fantastic. Yeah, that sounds great. Speaking of rabbits, because they're animals. Yeah, there was a card game called Exploding Kittens, and it still is. You can still buy it, and it's fabulous and all that kind of good stuff.
It's got lots of expansions now, I think.
Indeed,
At least
it does. Indeed, at least two. The game called Poetry for Neanderthals,
I just saw that on Facebook.
and I purchased it, and I have not yet received it. It is on its way, and I like to because they're very clever, and there's usually more game there than you would think. But the premise of the game is that you're given a thing that you have to get described to the other member of your team, your other members of your team. We'll be doing it password style in my house because we only got 4 people, and fuck them. You can only use one syllable words. So campfire would be described as thing that hot turn white cube brown campfire or something like that. You know, and I think it's gonna be fun. And if you f up and use a word that has more than one syllables, the other team gets to hit you with an inflatable stick that says no on it, and then they take your point. So I think it could be funny. I don't know, it's something we'll do a lot of, but I think it has potential for a future John Con.
Awesome. Well, let's see. I'm actually I got 2 more things to talk about that are coming out or announced potentially, and then I got one thing I actually watched today.
Cool.
Because I have not been keeping up with movies and all. I've been spending a lot of time doing other stuff.
Yeah.
COVID time, it's very weird. But I watched the first episode of Space 1999.
Holy shit, did that show not survive the ravages of time terribly well?
Well, I'll tell you what do survive the time fairly well. The model work on that show is
Yeah.
still very good.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. For physical effects, it's really pretty good. I'm not sure I can survive basically ABBA in space a whole lot, but
So, speaking of not being able to act your way out of a wet paper bag, Barbara Bain,
oh my god, she's brutal.
she's terrible.
She's brutal.
Like, if you had cast her as a Vulcan on Star Trek, people would be high-fiving, holy shit, she is nailing it.
Yeah, not a bit of emotion.
Not a bit. Martin Landau is solid as always, at least solid.
So-
I mean, Martin Landau's a legend.
So, how bad does she look when she's paired almost constantly with Martin Landau?
Terrible.
Who's an amazing actor.
He can't even get anything out of her. He can't bring her up. The rest of the actors are solid. I mean, some of them are mediocre. It's the time, but the main ones are solid to good, and he brings more out of them. She's just like fucking expressionless. Like the fuck.
Yeah.
Like she's the kind of person who needs backstory to say why she's an emotionless bitch.
Yeah. That's what's funny, John, is that we're talking about Space 1999, and it's the same guy that did Thunderbirds and Stingray and some of my favorite shows.
And I loved Space 1999 back in the day.
Yeah, me too.
And it just doesn't. Old shows are different than current shows.
They are.
People didn't need to know what the history of Martin Landau's character is. They don't care. They want the story that's going on. They didn't want personal stories about that. But it's changed. We want that. It's like Firefly. You want to know what happened to Malcolm Reynolds in the past. You need to know that to know why he does what he was.
Yeah, what his motivations are.
But so it was a solid episode. I mean, by today's standards, it's a little ponderous.
Yeah.
It reminds you a lot of the speed of Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Yeah.
But I also think it was a spectacle because you had not. Apparently, it was the most expensive show on TV back then.
I believe that. The special effects.
And the model works solid. Some of the special effects good. The overall story is interesting because it is also a political shot at the dangers of nuclear waste.
Yeah. Yep.
So I give it a solid for today's audiences. A solid 2 shots of Kraken. You're gonna need 1 just to live through Barbara Bain, and the rest because it is still at points a little cheesy and old.
Yep.
But enjoyable. That episode, if you care to watch it, is on YouTube. Thanks to God, who's the guys who do that? Shout Factory. They have it for free on their channel.
Just one episode, or
I think you can stream the rest on their service online.
okay.
So this is sort of like hey, Space 1999 episode 1, watch it here, watch the rest with us. Because whenever the commercial. So
Okay.
but that's cool. I enjoyed it. It's good to see classic stuff once in a while. I do realize that I am not going to watch the entire series.
No, there's no need to.
Especially not because in season 2 it becomes they start chasing whatever's big right then.
Yeah.
Monsters are big. They go to monsters. And it's a thing. If you're chasing what everyone else is doing, you're never going to be on the front line.
When they brought Maya on board as a shapeshifter, I think they kind of lost a little bit too, because she was like she could just turn into different monsters and shit like that at will, or turn into a bird.
Season 2 was a lot more action, a lot less, because Space 1999 was really a contemporary to Star Trek overall. It was not meant to be pure action, meant to be cerebral to a point, and the second season was not. It was action.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's worth checking out on YouTube for free. I mean, it's only 50 minutes long.
Last thing on my list is tomorrow I'm going to be hauling out Space Hulk. I'm going to play it with Chuck, I think.
Oh, so you're going to give him choice, or you're going to do it the campaign way where you should both play each side?
I am going to tell him the fact that the Space Marines are up against the wall on this one. And,
yes.
And that if you just want to, I'll tell him that, we can do this like how it's meant to be, where we each take the same scenario twice, once from each side. Or we can just, if you want to try and campaign through it, and, just power through it, just taking one side. I don't. The Space Marines have an uphill battle in that
yes.
game.
It's purely a dice thing. If your dice like you can crush through Gene Stealers.
Yep. But boy, oh boy.
If they don't like you, one Gene Stealers, you're like Terminator dead, Terminator dead.
Yep. So, and there ain't so many of them on any one of those scenarios. So I'll explain to him what the deal is with it, and we'll figure it out.
Cool.
It takes so much less time to set that game up than Nemesis, but
It's also probably a lot better for 2 players than Nemesis.
oh god, yeah, you can't play Nemesis 2-player.
Yeah.
So that would be pointless. I don't know. That's about all I got, buddy.
I got a couple more things to mention. I don't know if you've seen the preview for Star Trek: The Lower Decks.
No, I have not. Is that going to be on CBS?
Yes, it is animated.
Oh.
It is sort of... You get the feeling it's
The Lower
not
Decks.
serious at all.
Interesting.
It's like the junior officers and all, and I'm interested to see where it goes. I know my boss, John, is not going to like it because he's a classic Star Trek guy. But it looks like they're just trying to do other stuff, so we'll see how it goes. But I saw the preview, and it was interesting. Me and Banian, my roommate, laughed more than we have at just about anything recently.
Okay. I'll check it out.
Yeah, check it out. It looks interesting. Since I brought it up, the one thing we did laugh at more than that, there's a channel on YouTube called the Black Pants Legion.
Okay.
They do a lot of video game playthroughs and all. They're very silly at points, and they have a online game they play. I think it's called Incursion Sandstorm. It's like, terrorists versus special forces, online game. But their video series are hilarious.
Okay.
The most recent episode has Tex, who is one of the main members of the Black Pants Legion. He's a big BattleTech guy. He does very good work with the stuff he does on there. He does like 2-hour-long videos on BattleTech history too, which, if you're interested, is super.
That's a lot of video length.
Yeah, if you think about how long he puts into it, he said the hours is crazy, but he does his Grandpa Tex voice through most of it, where he talks like and it is hilarious. I have not laughed so hard in a long time. So if you guys need a little chuckle, and you like watching people get killed and do stupid stuff on an online, game, Call of Duty style, give that a look-see for Fireteam Whiskey.
Excellent.
And then the last thing is, did you hear, John, that they announced that they might be doing Tron 3?
No, that's interesting.
Yes, I heard that they're looking into it. There's some feelers out there. There's some rumors floating around. I got excited for it, and then apparently people on Twitter got unexcited because apparently Jared Leto is potentially going to be attached to the project, and I'm not sure why that's a bad thing. Did I miss something? Because I have actually enjoyed Jared Leto in everything I've seen him in. I would even go so far as to say Suicide Squad as the Joker. I liked his completely different than all the other takes in the Joker.
Yeah.
I didn't think he did a bad job. I've seen, in Lord of War, he did a fine job in that. So it's interesting to see. But I am always interested in more Tron content, and I'm very happy if they do a Tron 3.
It'll be nice to see them shake loose what, basically the first 2 movies were about. I'd like to see them explore some other part of the grid.
Yeah, and I'd be okay if it wasn't just the main character, Sam Flynn, and they might have a hard time getting Olivia Wilde back. She's doing a lot more stuff. She's a lot more higher profile than she was back then.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, you don't have to have those two fully involved. Sort of like in the second one, you didn't have a lot of Bruce Boxleitner involved.
True.
It's there, and you got to get Bruce Boxleitner if he's available, just for a little bit. Because, damn it, Bruce Boxleitner is awesome. He never got enough stuff to do.
This is true. He's a good actor.
He was. I mean, actually, I guess technically, Bring Him Back Alive, then Scarecrow and Mrs. King, and Babylon 5. I guess he did get a fair amount of stuff, but you don't see him too often.
Not so much. But not so much. He's probably, he's got to be in his, mid to late 60s now? Maybe 70?
Yeah. Fair. But still, he didn't get a lot back then, so.
Yeah. Cool, man.
So there we go. That's what I got. Not a lot to watch, but there's a lot of stuff being announced, and it's very interesting. And honestly, everyone's putting out their online service now, guys, because NBC just launched Peacock, apparently. Or is about to launch Peacock. So the battle lines are being drawn, so find the online service you like and watch all the stuff so that they know you love them, so that we can make sure the ones that are good stay and the ones that are bad go.
That's right. There you go. Vote with your pocketbook.
Absolutely.
So, All right, folks, I'll tell you what, I think that's the end of another exciting episode. If you would like us to see or talk about anything in particular, please stop on over to the Painting with Menoth John Facebook page and drop a little note on there. And we'll see what we can do about building an episode around it. We should be back next week Wednesday, so don't see any reason why I shouldn't. I think we'll press the button, I believe. So
It's the button.
There's stay safe, stay cool, be good to your fellow person, wear a goddamn mask. Remember, it's not for you, it's for somebody else. Be part of a society, for fuck's sakes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember Wheaton's Law.
Like the six people that are watching right now didn't know that already anyhow, because they're cool, they're brushheads.
Someone might stumble upon us in the Twitch archives years from now. They will all venerate the Menoth John show as positive and uplifting and full of wisdom.
Yes, exactly. Full of something, that's for goddamn sure. All right, on behalf of the mighty right hand of the podcast, Mr. John Spencer, I'm, of course, Menoth John, and we'll see you next time on Painting with Menoth John. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
I don't know what to say. I don't got a stinger for this one.
What can you say?
Backside of a pug.